Hi, welcome. This is our weekly live. I'm Joanna. I'll be guiding you for the next 45 minutes. And today's practice is a Hatha class for back care. So you will need 2 blocks, a bolster, a blanket and an eye pillow if you have them, or some makeshift props that you have at home, like cushions off the couch or bed, will do nicely. And I'll meet you on your mat. You can get comfortable in a seated position of Sukhasana to open, easy pose, and I'll see you on your mat. Okay, so once you have found your mat and perhaps elevated your pelvis onto a prop, you can sit with your legs crossed or extended. You can lean against a wall if you prefer, or you could sit in a chair for this opening. Make sure that you're rooting down through your pelvis and lifting up through the crown of your head and softening your shoulders back and down. Checking that your hands are resting to your legs for grounding. And then if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or just draw your gaze down towards the earth. Start to receive your breath. Start to notice the length of your spine. And begin to observe your breath moving all the way down on your inhale and all the way up the spine on your exhale. What does that look and feel like to you? Inhale breath moving down the spine. Exhale breath moving up the spine. The spine is the keystone to our health and longevity. Having a fluid, mobile spine allows us to move through the world with more ease. My teacher once said to me, "Motion is the lotion of life," and I love that quote. It's really stuck with me. And when we're teaching a yoga practice, we want to integrate all the movements of the spine in our class so that the practice feels well-rounded and whole. So that includes an upright position or axle. It includes flexion and extension, so folding forwards or coming into a gentle back bend. And lateral flexion, where we're moving from right side to left side and getting a stretch down the sides of the body. And rotation, a twist that happens right and left. So when you practice yourself or when you're teaching yourself, be mindful of whether you are integrating all these ways of moving the spine in your practice. And that is what we will do today in this class, focusing on those ways of moving and observing how we feel as we come back to this seated position at the end of our class. So just for the next few moments, continue to check in with your body, check in with your spine, your posture and alignment here as you sit. Notice if there's any areas that are really calling out to you, really speaking for some attention, some extra love and care. And let's see if as we move through this class today, we can serve those parts of ourselves. Take a smooth breath in through your nose. And a cleansing exhale from the mouth. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and move your head gently from side to side. Sweep your arms into the sky and take a big inhale breath and a stretch. And as you exhale, bring those arms all the way down, hands onto your thighs. Take an inhale and roll your shoulders up. And exhale to roll your shoulders back and down. And let's begin with Sufi grind. So choose a direction and start to circle your chest forwards and back. Don't worry too much about which direction you've chosen. We'll make sure we go both ways. Focus more on how this feels for you. So this is a great starting place for back care. Just noting how the spine is moving in this circular motion. Spots that feel fluid and open, areas that feel tight or sticky. Not only is this beneficial for your spine, but also for your digestive tract and for your hips. If you feel the urge to pause anywhere along this pathway, do so. Just take a couple breaths in that sweet spot and then continue on. Let's take one more circle in this direction. And then let's move the other way. See if you can time your movement and breath as one. So anytime you're inhaling, do so as you sweep your chest forwards. And as you're exhaling, circle the chest back. If at any time this creates any dizziness or nausea, just come back to sitting upright. And then come back to a neutral spine. Take a breath in and a breath out. Notice how you feel. Notice the sides of your waist, the length of your spine. On your next inhale breath, float your right arm into the sky. Lean to the left with your left hand or left forearm supporting you on the floor. Your right arm is up and overhead until you feel a stretch into the right side of your body. Be mindful to keep your right hip rooting down. And you can either be looking forwards or looking up for a little more stimulation, or looking down for a little more grounding. See what feels comfortable on your neck. Be mindful to keep your chest facing forwards. Shoulders relaxed. Move the breath into the stretch. You can stay like this or take your top hand behind your head. Inhale, lean your head back into your hand. This might be enough. This is a great shoulder and chest opening. Or come along for a little more fluidity. So as you inhale, you'll look up towards your top elbow. And as you exhale, you'll round your spine, draw your belly button in, and bring that right elbow towards your left thigh. Again, inhale to open your chest and look up towards the sky. And exhale to round the spine, elbow towards thigh. One more cycle. Inhale to open. Use the whole breath to finish the movement. And exhale to round. Inhale back to neutral, nice and slowly coming all the way up. Exhale, hands onto your legs. Take a big breath in. And a smooth breath out. Notice any sense of release you feel or any difference between the two sides right now. Second side when you're ready. Inhale, left arm into the sky. Exhale, leaning to the right, right hand or right forearm supporting you on the earth. That top arm reaching overhead and the left hip rooting down. Sweep your breath into your side body, into this lateral flexion. And then option for the top hand to come behind the head, leaning the head back. Maybe you get off the bus here. Maybe this is your stop. This is enough. Or option to inhale and look up to your top elbow. Exhale, rounding the back, elbow towards opposite thigh. Again, inhale, use the full breath to open the chest and look more towards the sky. Exhale to round. Last cycle, inhale to open. And exhale to round. Inhale, come all the way up, nice and slow. Exhale, hands onto your thighs. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Be in this moment of release. Lovely. From here, we'll move on to our hands and knees. If you have knee sensitivity, you might want to put a blanket or some cushioning under the knees. Stack your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. You can have your toes tucked or untucked. I'll leave that up to you. And then think about length in the spine again. So crown of the head extending forwards, tailbone extending back, belly button drawn towards the spine. Still maintaining the natural curvature of the spine, but thinking about length. From here, inhale and tilt your tailbone towards the ceiling. Soften your belly towards the earth and lift your chin and your chest. As you exhale, start at the pelvis again, tucking the tail towards you, rounding the spine and looking towards your belly button. Inhale, tilt the tail to the sky, soften the belly, lift the chest. This is your cow pose. And exhale, rounding the spine. This is cat pose. One more time, starting the movement from the pelvis and moving all the way up to the crown of the head. And exhale, rounding the spine and looking towards the belly button. Coming back to neutral. Inhale your right arm into the sky and open your chest to the right. Exhale, take this right arm under your left arm and lower your right ear and shoulder either onto your mat or maybe onto your blocks or some cushioning in front of you. This is a great option if your head and shoulder don't quite reach the floor. So you're keeping your pelvis nice and high here, but checking in that your hips aren't swaying too much to the right or left. There may be a tendency that the hips want to move to the left here. So try your best to think about equal length in both sides of your waist, keeping your hips on the same line. You can keep that left hand on the floor where it is, or you might walk the left hand forwards to the front of the mat and maybe slightly over to the right, deepening the stretch around your left shoulder. Another option is to take the left arm into the sky, or maybe wrap that left hand onto your lower back, onto your lower back, or around to your right hip crease. And just be mindful that you can maintain stability by taking that left hand off the floor. So here we find ourselves in a twist or in a rotation. And this is focusing on the upper spine. So start to breathe deep breaths into that space between your shoulder blades that is often very sticky and full of tension. Imagine a hand perhaps just gently pressed on your upper back, and you're breathing in and out of that hand. Let's take 3 more breaths. Place that left hand back where you can see it. Slowly come all the way back into your tabletop position and pour your exhale breath into the mat. And instinctively, you might feel the urge to move a little bit here. So maybe it's some little hip circles or swaying the hips right and left. Maybe you cycle back through some cat and cow. Maybe you actually feel the urge to release your knees from the floor here. So some of you might extend one leg back at a time, releasing one knee at a time. Some of you might enjoy actually tucking your toes, spreading your fingers, lifting your pelvis, and coming into a downward facing dog for a few breaths. The movements in between the poses are as vital as the pose themselves. They offer us a sense of release. They offer us an opportunity to build more awareness. So take your time in these moments. Enjoy the sensations as your body returns to a sensation of neutrality. We'll meet back on our hands and knees as you're ready. And inhale your left arm into the sky and open the chest to the left. Exhale, left arm under the right arm, lowering your left ear, left shoulder, either onto the earth or again onto some elevated props, if that helps you. Firstly, do the check-in with your pelvis. Does your back feel equal in length on both sides? And then decide whether you are keeping that right hand where it is, or whether you're walking the right fingers forwards and maybe slightly to the left, or perhaps even taking that right hand up to the sky and wrapping that right hand onto your lower back or towards your left hip. And here we are again, maybe eyes open or closed, breathing into that upper spine, breathing around the shoulder blades. 3 more breaths. And then lower that right hand onto the floor. Slowly come all the way up into tabletop. Exhale your breath once again. Tap into what feels instinctive, to move or to be still. Maybe down dog, maybe cat and cow, maybe a little rocking of your hips. And this time we'll meet in Balasana, child's pose. So start to walk your knees wide and connect your big toes together. Feel free to put a bolster or a cushion between your pelvis and your heels if there is a big gap there as you hinge back. Feel free to have blocks in front of you for your forehead if you wish, creating a little shelf there if you don't want your head lower than your heart. Check in whether you want your arms straight or a little more bend through the elbows. And I invite you to breathe into the entirety of your back. Meaning breathe breath into the back of your rib cage, the back of your lungs, the sides of your waist. Enjoy this sense of spaciousness and opening across your lower back and back of the pelvis. Child's pose is such a humble shape. It creates more grounding in the body as more of our body parts are in contact with the floor. It's also a very safe pose because our backs, that shell, the armor that protects our vital organs on the front of the body, is currently doing its job very well. Our vital organs are soft and relaxed on the front of the body, and the back is providing the shield. Breathe into that shield, that expanse, that supportive spine. Three more breaths. And then slowly start to make your way back onto hands and knees, removing any props that are underneath your body. And we'll come around to a seat, ready to recline onto our backs. So it would be great here if you can bring your props behind you. So you can choose whether it's a bolster. So you could, if you want, have a long bolster behind you. This is for the length of your spine. If you want your head to be a little more elevated, just place a block underneath the bolster where your head is going to land, and then you have this lovely incline. You can keep a cushion or a rolled up blanket under your pelvis, especially if you have any lower back sensitivity. You might want this extra elevation here. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to offer another option with 2 blocks. So here we go, we're rolling down onto our bolster and relaxing the back of the head. Now, if this feels like too much elevation, it's not for you, no problem. Just remove whatever props are not working. And then I would love for you to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. So soles of the feet together and the knees going wide. If you have spare props and you need them for under your hips or under your knees for extra support, then please take them. If this doesn't work in your hips, you could always have your legs long and wide in more of a Shavasana shape, so the pelvis is completely relaxed. So that's one option for a supported back bend. The other option is a little more challenging. So if you do have back sensitivity, just be very mindful as to whether this is a good option for you or not. So I've moved to just 2 blocks. So these are a little firmer and they are a little higher. So that's why it might not be for everybody. But basically you're going to create a T shape with your 2 blocks, and you're going to put that T shape at the far end of your mat. So this first block that's long is going to go in between your shoulder blades, and the other block that's short is for the back of your head. So it is a little tricky to come into the first few times, but it is a wonderful heart opener and supported back bend if it feels good in your body. So here they are, the props are there ready to go. I'm still using the blanket as a little cushion for the back of the pelvis, coming down onto the forearms, and then finding that first block with my hand and just nuzzling it in between the shoulder blades. So no lower than that. And then finding the second block with my 2 hands and resting the back of my head to it. Now, if you find this second block that your head is on needs to go a height higher, feel free. We don't want to create a lot of compression in the back of the neck here. We want the back of the neck to be nice and long. So if that means elevating the head a little more, go for it. And again, legs can be in Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly, or Shavasana, legs long and wide. Now for your arms, you can have your hands resting on your body with your elbows relaxed to the floor. So whether that's resting on your inner thighs, lower belly, or rib cage. Or you could have your arms wide across the floor with your palms facing up. This does create more of a stretch across your pectoral muscles, across your chest and around your shoulders. So just go steady with this, see if it's okay for you today. And now I invite you to breathe into the front of your spine. Have you ever thought about the front of your spine? Your spine has more than one side. So think about where the front of the spine is located, what that looks and feels like for you. So basically we are inviting more breath into the front lines of our body. So on your inhale, enjoy that expanse and widening of breath. And on your exhale, that softening and releasing. Now feel free to remain with your arms still, doing what they're doing. Or if you feel the urge, it can be really nice here to move into a bit of a self-massage. So you can begin with just a couple of shoulder rolls. You're rolling your shoulders up, back, and down, and massaging those shoulder blades into your props. You could also place your hands on your shoulders and circle your elbows. And the final option here is to take your arms all the way up to the sky and all the way back behind you, and then exhale, take your arms wide and down. Now when you're moving like this, try and move with the breath. So anytime your arms are moving in an upward direction or your shoulders are moving in an upward direction, take your inhale breath. And then as your arms are moving down, take your exhale breath. But see if the breath can lead the movement. So start your inhale and then start moving the arms up or shoulders up. And then wait for the exhale before you start moving down. This creates a moving meditation and allows us to become more aware of our breath and its rhythm, and builds that relationship between breath and body, movement and breath. And again, if anywhere along these pathways you feel the urge to simply pause and stop and hang out for a few breaths, go for it. We'll just spend 5 more breaths wherever you are. And then very slowly bring your hands to the outsides of your legs and bring your knees back together if you're in butterfly pose. If you have props under your body, we'll either roll to one side or lift ourselves up and simply slide the props away with as little effort as you can, and then return onto your back. Once you're on your back, just enjoy the floor. Enjoy your back, breathing in and out of your mat. And notice what you feel. Maybe you shuffle your feet wide, let your knees touch, hands to belly. Where do you feel more expanse, more lightness, more spaciousness? Are there any new areas that breath can travel to now? Maybe just taking a moment longer here to be in a place of gratitude. Gratitude for this feeling, this spine, this body, this breath, this moment. Gratitude for it all. Shuffle your feet back in towards one another and hug your knees into your chest now. And let's just rock across the lower back for a couple of breaths. You might enjoy taking your hands onto your knees and making circles with your knees. You might enjoy happy baby, holding onto the soles of your feet and flexing those feet up to the sky as you bend your knees down the sides of your body. Maybe rocking a little on your lower back. Lots of breath. And then bring your feet back onto your mat. Shift your hips over to the left and lower your two knees to the right. Feel free to grab your bolster and place it in between your legs or under your knees if you like. Maybe you wish to place a block behind your left shoulder for some extra support. We're coming into a full spinal twist. Your hands can remain on the body. This is very anchoring. Or to deepen the twist and open up the chest, you could open up your arms across the floor, palms facing up. Be mindful that this doesn't create any sensation of pain. We never want to be in pain. We just want to be in sensation. We want to feel the twist. Pain can feel electric or sharp. Sometimes it can be numbing or tingly. So just look out for those signs. Instead, find a twist that allows you to breathe up and down the spine still with a sense of fluidity and ease. If you're unable to breathe fully in and out, that might be an indication that the twist is too deep. So you can back off a little bit from that place and then again check in with your breath. Twists are wonderfully detoxifying for the body, not just on the spinal column, but on your digestive system, on your respiratory system. They're also super calming and cooling and soothing for your nervous system. So twists are a great shape to move into as we are starting to wind down the practice and move towards Shavasana. Let's take 5 more breaths here. On your next inhale breath, draw your belly towards your spine so your core is gently engaged. This helps to protect your back as you move to center, finding a neutral spine and exhaling. Again, just enjoying the moment between the shapes. Maybe the feet shuffle wide again, your knees touch in center. You may nuzzle your shoulders underneath your body a bit more. Just find that moment of stability and quiet through your body. And then you can shift your hips to the right and lower your knees to the left for a 2-knee twist on this side. Again, you might take your props with you to support between your knees or under your knees. You might have a prop under your right shoulder. This side might look very different and feel very different to the first side, and that's okay, that's normal. Just make sure that you respond accordingly to the way your body feels on this side. Try not to make the shape look completely symmetrical if the body's not requesting that. If the body needs something slightly different. And with your gaze in these twists, you can either be looking up to the sky or you could look slowly over to your right shoulder. See how that feels in your neck. Let's take 5 more breaths. And then come back to center, nice and slowly. And again, engage your core, so draw belly button to spine. Come all the way back to neutral. And then exhale your breath in center. Just enjoy a few moments of stillness. Release a full cleansing exhale breath. And now we prepare the body for Shavasana. So you might enjoy placing your bolster underneath your knees, widening your legs. You might also place a cushion behind your head. You might have a blanket over your body, maybe an eye pillow. You're coming all the way down onto your back, nuzzling your shoulders underneath you a little more, making sure your legs are completely relaxed and wide so that your hips are not clenching, they are relaxed. And check in once again with your spine, finding that long line from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And sending another long breath up and down the back. And then settling into this shape of Shavasana, corpse pose. Releasing any residing tightness or tension from your body. And making space for what's next, for what's new, for clarity. I'll call you from Shavasana when it's time. Until then, no more to do. If you have longer to dedicate to your Shavasana, then please stay as long as you need. If, however, it's time for you to come out now, start to deepen your breath. Start to move your fingers and toes. Roll your wrists and ankles. And take a full body stretch as you inhale. And as you exhale, hug your knees to your chest. Start to gently rock on your back until you land on your side. And then finding your way up to Sukhasana just as we began the practice. Sitting in an upright position that is comfortable for you, with your hands either resting on your body or bringing the hands together in Anjali Mudra, with the heels of the hands together and the fingertips or the finger pads touching, bringing those thumbs towards your sternum. Imagine there's a little nesting bird between the hands, so you're not pressing the hands completely together. This is a symbol of offering and devotion to yourself, to your practice, to your community. With length from the crown of your head down to your tailbone, breathe into this new life for the spine. And again, give thanks, have gratitude for this time you carved out today for your body, for your mind, for your breath. Your spine will thank you. One sealing breath here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's my pleasure to guide you. Thank you so much. Namaste.